What if I told you that the version of yourself you'll meet at the end of 2026 is being created by what you do in the first 60 minutes after you wake up tomorrow morning? Not your job, not your income, not your connections, just your morning. Here's the truth that most people never realize. The gap between the top 1% and everyone else isn't created in boardrooms, classrooms, or business meetings. It's created before sunrise, when the world is still asleep and no one is watching. While most people hit the snooze button, the top 1% are building the mindset, discipline, and momentum that everyone else will envy months later. Every morning, your alarm clock asks one question. Will you choose comfort, or will you choose the future you've been praying for? The answer to that question will determine far more than your day. It could determine your focus 2026. So before you dismiss this as just another motivational speech, make yourself one promise. Stay with me until the end, because the habit you are about to discover has the power to completely transform the way you wake up, the way you think, the way you work, and ultimately, the life you create. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want 2026 to be different from every year you've ever lived, then stop asking what you need to do during the day and start asking who you need to become before the day even begins. Because the truth is, your future doesn't begin at noon. It doesn't begin after your coffee. It doesn't begin when you arrive at work. Your future begins the moment your eyes open in the morning. Most people wake up by accident. The top 1% wake up on purpose. Think about that for a moment. Two people can wake up in the same city, breathe the same air, have the same 24 hours, and yet one person builds a life of freedom while the other spends years wondering why nothing ever changes. The difference is rarely intelligence. It isn't luck. It isn't talent. It's what they repeatedly do before the rest of the world wakes up. Your morning is more than the beginning of your day. It is the foundation of your future. A weak foundation can never support a strong building. A distracted morning can never produce a focused life. If you lose the first hour of your day, you spend the next 12 trying to recover from it. That's why your alarm clock is more than a device. It is a decision. Every morning it asks one question. Will you choose comfort, or will you choose your future? And every time you hit the snooze button, you're not just delaying your wake-up time. You're delaying the person you're capable of becoming. The people who accomplish extraordinary things understand something the average person misses. Success isn't created in dramatic moments. Success is created in ordinary mornings, repeated consistently over time. You don't become exceptional because of what you do once. You become exceptional because of what you refuse to stop doing. Imagine waking up tomorrow with one simple promise to yourself. Before I give my attention to the world, I will give my attention to my purpose. That's how leaders think. Most people wake up and immediately hand their minds over to everyone else. Notifications, emails, messages, social media, news, problems, opinions. Before they've even spoken one encouraging word to themselves, they've already allowed the world to tell them what to think. If you start your day consuming everyone else's priorities, don't be surprised when you never accomplish your own. Your attention is one of the most valuable assets you possess. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. Wherever your energy goes, your results appear. Protect your mornings because your mornings protect your future. Every successful life begins with successful thinking. Your external world will never consistently rise above your internal world. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, excuses, and negativity, your actions will eventually reflect it. But if your mind is filled with purpose, vision, gratitude, faith, and discipline, your actions begin to move in that direction. You cannot think like everyone else and expect to live differently from everyone else. The top 1% understand that before they change their bank account, they must change their mindset. Before they change their results, they change their routines. Before they influence others, they learn to lead themselves. Leadership begins in private. No one applauds you for waking up early. No one gives you a trophy for reading instead of scrolling. No one celebrates you for exercising before sunrise. But those private decisions eventually create public victories that everyone notices. People often admire the success but ignore the mornings that made it possible. Discipline is invisible before it becomes obvious. Every morning you have two choices. You can stay where you are because it feels comfortable, or you can become uncomfortable because you know that's where growth lives. Comfort has never created greatness. Growth has always required sacrifice. If you study people who consistently perform at the highest level, you'll notice something interesting. They don't wait until they feel motivated. They move before motivation arrives. They understand that action creates emotion more often than emotion creates action. Don't wait to feel inspired. Become the kind of person who acts because you've made a decision. Feelings change. Commitment doesn't. One of the biggest lies people believe is that tomorrow will somehow be different. They tell themselves they'll wake up earlier tomorrow. They'll exercise tomorrow. They'll read tomorrow. They'll start the business tomorrow. They'll write the book tomorrow. They'll chase the dream tomorrow. But tomorrow has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. Every day you postpone your purpose. You're training yourself to believe that your excuses are more powerful than your potential. Stop negotiating with your future. When your alarm goes off, don't have a debate. Make a decision. The people who change their lives don't have fewer obstacles. They simply have stronger reasons. You don't need another motivational video every morning. You need a decision that lasts longer than your emotions. Imagine if for the next 90 days, you treated every sunrise like an opportunity instead of an inconvenience. Imagine if you woke up grateful instead of complaining. Imagine if you spent 30 minutes learning instead of scrolling. Imagine if you exercised even when you didn't feel like it. Imagine if you wrote down your goals every single morning until they became part of your identity. Would your life look different? Of course it would, because small daily improvements create extraordinary long-term outcomes. People overestimate what they can accomplish in one day, but they underestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year of consistency. The greatest investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or business. It's in becoming a better version of yourself. Knowledge increases your value. Discipline multiplies your value. Consistency protects your value. Every morning ask yourself one question. Who do I need to become today? Not what do I need to earn? Not what do I need to own? Who do I need to become? Because what you have is always connected to who you are. When you become more valuable, opportunities begin looking for you. Doors open that once seemed impossible. Conversations change. Your confidence changes. Your habits change. Eventually, your entire life changes. But it begins before breakfast. It begins while everyone else is still asleep. The early hours carry a unique kind of peace. There are fewer distractions, fewer interruptions, and fewer excuses. That's when clarity is born. Your greatest ideas rarely arrive in chaos. They arrive in quiet moments when your mind has room to think. Protect that silence. Use it to dream bigger. Use it to plan wisely. Use it to strengthen your spirit. Use it to prepare for the opportunities waiting later in the day. Remember this, successful people don't simply manage time. They manage themselves. Time is equal for everyone. Self-management is not. You don't need more hours. You need better habits. And habits are formed one decision at a time, one morning at a time, one commitment at a time. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Don't become discouraged because someone else appears to be ahead. Stay committed to your process. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight, but every single day it's growing beneath the surface. Just because people can't see your progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep improving. Keep waking up with intention. Eventually, your results will become impossible to ignore. There will be mornings when you're tired. Wake up anyway. There will be mornings when motivation is missing. Wake up anyway. There will be mornings when no one believes in your vision. Wake up anyway. Because your future is not determined by how easy your mornings are. It's determined by how faithful you remain to your commitments. The top 1% are ordinary people who mastered extraordinary consistency. They didn't wait for perfect circumstances. They created better habits. They didn't chase shortcuts. They embraced the process. They understood that every sunrise offered another opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more valuable than they were yesterday. Now it's your turn. Don't let 2026 become another year you merely survive. Make it the year you intentionally transform. Wake up before your excuses do. Wake up before fear has a chance to speak. Wake up before distraction steals your focus. Wake up before the world tells you who you should be. Stand up with purpose. Fill your mind with truth. Strengthen your body. Develop your skills. Write your vision. Take the first step before anyone asks you to. Because the life you've been praying for is waiting on the discipline you've been avoiding. One morning won't change your life, but one morning repeated every day absolutely will. So when tomorrow arrives and that alarm begins to ring, remember this moment. Remember that greatness isn't calling you at noon. Opportunity isn't waiting until next month. Your future is knocking before the sun rises. Answer the call. Wake up with intention. Wake up with courage. Wake up with discipline. Wake up like the top 1%. And if you do it consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, don't be surprised when people start calling you lucky. They'll never see the mornings that built your success. But you'll know the truth. Your extraordinary future wasn't created by chance. It was created by the ordinary decisions you made every single morning when no one was watching. Make tomorrow morning the beginning of the life you've always imagined. And let 2026 become the year the world notices what your discipline has been building all along. Every single morning, before you speak to anyone, before you answer a message, before you step into your responsibilities, you are making a decision about who you are becoming. Most people believe identity is something they discover. But the truth is, identity is something they build. It is shaped by the choices they repeat when no one is watching. Your morning is not just the beginning of another day, it is the beginning of another opportunity to reinforce the person you want to become. If you wake up with purpose, you strengthen the identity of a disciplined person. If you wake up with intention, you strengthen the identity of a leader. But if you wake up without direction, constantly reacting to whatever demands your attention first, you slowly build the identity of someone who is controlled by circumstances instead of controlling them. Think about the first 60 minutes of your day. Those moments are incredibly powerful because your mind is fresh, your focus is at its highest, and your decisions carry momentum into everything that follows. That's why successful people don't wait until they arrive at work to become productive. They begin winning long before anyone else sees them. They understand that every morning is a chance to vote for the future version of themselves. Every time they choose discipline over comfort, preparation over procrastination, learning over distraction, they cast another vote for the person they are determined to become. The greatest mistake many people make is believing that one big opportunity will suddenly transform their lives. But transformation rarely happens in a single dramatic moment. It happens through ordinary mornings repeated consistently over time. The person you become next year is being shaped by what you do tomorrow morning. Your habits are writing your story long before your results become visible. If you want a stronger future, build stronger mornings. If you want greater confidence, keep the promises you make to yourself before the world even wakes up. Because your morning doesn't just influence your day. It creates your identity. And your identity ultimately creates your destiny. Before you try to conquer your schedule, solve problems, answer emails, or meet the demands of the day, you must first conquer yourself. The first hour after you wake up is the most valuable investment you can make because it determines whether you will spend the rest of the day leading your life or simply reacting to it. Too many people wake up and immediately hand over their attention to the world. They reach for their phones before they even speak a word of gratitude. They scroll through social media, read stressful headlines, reply to messages, and allow other people's priorities to shape their thoughts. By the time they finally begin working on their own goals, their energy has already been scattered in a dozen different directions. If you allow the world to own your first hour, don't be surprised when it controls the rest of your day. The people who consistently perform at the highest level understand that the first hour belongs to them, not to everyone else. They protect it because they know their future depends on it. Instead of filling their minds with distractions, they fill them with purpose. And they spend time in quiet reflection, prayer, gratitude, learning, planning, or exercise. They don't do these things because they have extra time. They do them because they know these habits create the mindset required to handle everything due that comes later. Winning the first hour isn't about checking off a list of tasks. It's about becoming mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared before life begins demanding something from you. When your mind is clear, your decisions become stronger. When your body is energized, your actions become sharper. When your purpose is defined, distractions lose their power. Momentum is one of the greatest forces in life. A single positive decision early in the morning often leads to another, and then another. One disciplined hour creates a disciplined day, and disciplined days eventually create an extraordinary life. Every morning you have a choice. You can begin by reacting to noise, or you can begin by creating clarity. You can allow circumstances to dictate your attitude, or you can decide in advance who you will be, regardless of what happens. The world will always be waiting for your attention, but your dreams deserve it first. Win the first hour, and you'll discover that the rest of the day becomes far easier to lead, with confidence, focus, and purpose. People often believe that the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one is talent, intelligence, education, or luck. They spend years searching for secret strategies while overlooking the one quality that quietly separates high achievers from everyone else: discipline. Discipline is the real competitive advantage because it allows ordinary people to produce extraordinary results over time. Talent may give someone a head start, but discipline determines who finishes the race. Intelligence may help you recognize opportunities, but discipline gives you the courage and consistency to act on them. Luck may open a door once, but discipline keeps that door open by making you the kind of person who is prepared every single day. The world celebrates success when it becomes visible, but it rarely notices the thousands of disciplined decisions that made that success possible. Every morning you stand at a crossroads between comfort and growth. One path feels easy because it asks nothing of you. It invites you to sleep a little longer, postpone your goals, make excuses, and convince yourself that tomorrow will be different. The other path demands effort. It asks you to get up when you don't feel like it, to stay committed when motivation disappears, and to continue working even when no one is watching. Most people choose comfort because it offers immediate satisfaction, but comfort has a hidden cost. It slowly steals your confidence, weakens your character, and keeps your potential locked away. Growth, on the other hand, may feel uncomfortable today, but it rewards you with strength, wisdom, and opportunities that comfort can never provide. Every time you choose discipline over convenience, you prove to yourself that your future is more valuable than your temporary feelings. The greatest competitors you will ever face are not other people. They are your own excuses, distractions, and habits. The person who learns to master those battles gains an advantage that cannot be taken away by changing markets, difficult circumstances, or talented opponents. Discipline creates reliability, and reliable people become trusted leaders. It creates consistency, and consistency builds confidence. It transforms promises into actions and dreams into measurable progress. Your future income, your influence, your relationships, and your impact on the world are all connected to the habits you practice every day. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room to reach the top. You simply need to become the person who keeps showing up, keeps learning, and keeps moving forward long after everyone else has surrendered to comfort. That is the power of discipline, and that is why it remains the greatest competitive advantage anyone can possess. If you truly want 2026 to become the year everything changes, then stop waiting for a perfect opportunity and start creating a powerful morning. The quality of your future is directly connected to the quality of the habits you practice before the rest of the world demands your attention. Every sunrise gives you a fresh opportunity to rewrite your story, but only if you choose to approach it with intention instead of routine. Too many people wake up hoping the day will somehow become productive on its own. Hope is important, but hope without action changes nothing. Your morning should never begin with confusion or distraction. It should begin with purpose. Before the world tells you what it wants from you, decide what you want from yourself. Build a routine that strengthens your mind, energizes your body, and reminds you of the vision you're committed to pursuing. When you consistently start your day with clarity instead of chaos, you stop living by accident and begin living by design. A life-changing morning doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be consistent. Spend a few moments in gratitude so you remember how much you already have. Feed your mind with something that makes you wiser instead of something that merely entertains you. Move your body because energy creates momentum, and momentum creates action. Review your goals until they become more than words on paper. They become part of your identity. Then take one meaningful step toward your biggest dream before the distractions of the day begin pulling you in different directions. That single step may seem small, but small actions performed every morning eventually become extraordinary achievements. Success is never the result of one perfect day. It is the result of hundreds of ordinary mornings where you refuse to compromise your base standards. Every disciplined morning is another brick in the foundation of the life you are building. Imagine the difference 90 days of intentional mornings could make. Imagine what would happen if every single day you chose progress over procrastination, purpose over excuses, and growth over comfort. By the end of the year, your confidence would be stronger because you kept the promises you made to yourself. Your knowledge would increase because you invested in learning. Your health would improve because you consistently took care of your body. Your opportunities would multiply because prepared people recognize possibilities that distracted people never see. The truth is, 2026 will not change because the calendar changes. It will change because you change. Build a morning that develops your character, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your discipline. And you won't just experience a better year. You will become a better person. When you become better every morning, everything connected to your life begins to rise with you. And that's how one simple routine can transform your entire 2026. As we come to the end of this message, remember this: your future is not waiting for a lucky break, a perfect opportunity, or the right circumstances. It is waiting for one simple decision, the decision to own your mornings. The top 1% didn't become exceptional because they were born different. They became exceptional because they refused to let average habits produce an average life. Every sunrise gives you two choices: return to the life you always lived, or wake up and begin building the life you've always imagined. Tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off, don't think about how you feel. Think about who you're becoming. Don't ask, do I have the motivation? Ask, do I have the discipline? Because motivation comes and goes, but discipline builds a future that emotions never can. The first hour of your day is either investing in your dreams or financing your excuses. The choice has always been yours. Imagine where you could be by the end of 2026 if you simply committed to winning your mornings. Imagine the confidence you'll gain from keeping promises to yourself. Imagine the opportunities you'll attract because you became more prepared, more focused, and more valuable every single day. The life you've been hoping for isn't built in one extraordinary moment. It is built in ordinary mornings repeated with extraordinary consistency. So don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait until another year slips away. Start tomorrow. Wake up before your excuses. Wake up before your fears. Wake up before the distractions. Protect your first hour like your future depends on it, because it does. Build your mind before you build your schedule. Strengthen your character before you chase success. Become the person capable of achieving the life you desire, and success will eventually have no choice but to follow. 1 year from now, you'll either thank yourself for starting today or regret that you kept saying, I'll start tomorrow. Make the decision that your future self will be proud of. Wake up with purpose. Live with discipline. Finish with excellence. And let 2026 be remembered as the year you stopped wishing for a better life and started waking up early enough to build one.